All right, hello friends and welcome to week 6 of distance learning. This week we're going to talk about a couple big things. We're going to talk about predicting and we're going to talk about inferencing. So instead of starting with inferencing, which is something new, I wanted to start with something a little bit easier, so we're going to start with predicting. Okay, so when we predict, we say or estimate something that could happen in the future. Okay, so an example would be the weatherman is predicting snow this weekend. What is he predicting? That it could snow this weekend. So when he predicts something, he's not just pulling it out of a hat and saying, oh, it could snow this weekend. He's using models. He's using barometers. He's using all kinds of different tools to come up with a prediction that it's going to snow this weekend. He's not just making it up. He's using lots of evidence. Because if he didn't and he just made it up, we probably wouldn't think of him as a very reliable weatherman if it was actually 80 degrees, right? So he has to use all of these important tools to make his predictions, and you do too. Okay, so here's a couple other examples of predictions. You predict things all the time. So this isn't a skill that I'm teaching you brand new because you kind of naturally do it as a human. So first one is who will win a game or a race. So if you go, can't really go to it now, but if you go and see horses race at the Kentucky Derby, or maybe Oakland Raiders versus Kansas City Chiefs, and you're predicting that the Chiefs are going to win. That's your prediction. Okay. Maybe how the day will go. So if you walk in and, well, I guess not anymore, but if you walk into school and you see that, the classroom is a mess and I'm all frazzled, the day probably isn't going to go that good, right? But if you come in and you have donuts on your desk, the day's probably going to go pretty well just based off of what you've seen so far, okay? I could also say the same thing for this example. So how do you do on a test? You can predict, hey, I did really well because I studied, so I think I'm going to get an A. Or I didn't study at all, so I'm probably going to fail it. Another thing, what will happen in the book? You are doing this today, okay? How a new recipe will turn out. Will it be yummy? This is actually a recipe I tried this quarantine. It's blueberry cheesecake, and it's like a fat-free-ish cheesecake, and it was actually really good. So my prediction was, will it be yummy? Is this even worth all the money and the time that I'm spending on this thing? Another one, this is huge, how the rest of the school year will turn out. My prediction isn't matching up to what actually happened. I thought we would be out for a couple weeks. I didn't think it was going to be the entire year. So I could say my prediction was not correct. Okay, so making predictions is huge because it makes you a better reader. So when we're reading, we can use clues from the story to predict what might happen next, which is exactly what you're going to practice today. So these clues can either be in the text, or if you're lucky enough, the picture will give you clues as well. So to make a prediction, you can't just pull it out of a hat like my weatherman example, okay? You first have to read some kind of information. You can read the title of a book, maybe one paragraph of your book, maybe a chapter of your book. Then you have to think. So you have to use your background knowledge, and you already know that your background knowledge is what you already know about a topic. You have to use your background knowledge and the clues that it gives you to make your prediction. Okay, so if it was my weatherman example, he uses his knowledge of storms, particularly snowstorms, and his clues. So he uses his weather maps, his radars, all kinds of weatherman tools, barometers maybe, temperatures, all that good stuff to make a prediction that it's going to snow. Okay, then you revise it and you verify. So you back up and you change your predictions. You verify if they're correct. When I say verify, that means to either agree with it. So you say, yeah, my prediction was correct. It is snowing. Or you disagree with it and you don't verify your prediction because your prediction wasn't correct. All right, so let's practice making predictions with a picture first. So I'm going to give you just a couple seconds to think about what might be happening in this picture and have a prediction in your brain because we're going to talk about it. So looks like I have a little ship and it's heading somewhere. And then I have something in the sky. I have a little something right there. So make a prediction. What might be happening in this picture right now? You have a prediction in your brain? Good. So now we're going to talk about thoughtful prediction. Okay? So a thoughtful prediction is a prediction that is well thought out. It's not just something you wrote down really fast because you just wanted it to get over with. It's related to the text and it's detailed. So I'm going to go over some examples of thoughtful predictions and non-examples, okay? So in your brain, it's okay if you had a non-example because you didn't know. You didn't know what I expected. So that's okay because now we can back up and we can revise it to make it a thoughtful prediction. So you know a thoughtful prediction is just detailed. It's related to the text. In our case, it's related to our picture. So if you said something about a man going to get ice cream, you are nowhere near correct here. Because unless he's going to shore, there's no ice cream stand, there's no man, okay? So here, let's just start with the non-examples. So a non-example would be the boat will go to shore, okay? It's a prediction. The boat could go to shore because it looks like it's heading there, but it's not super thoughtful. This isn't really a 4th grade prediction, okay? Another example is the boat will be in a storm. Yeah, that's a prediction, but that would be like a 1st grade or 2nd grade prediction, okay? We want a bigger, more detailed, thought out prediction. Okay, so let's skip over to our thoughtful prediction side. So I'm going to turn the boat will go to shore into a thoughtful prediction. So what I did was the boat will head directly to land and will narrowly escape the storm. Okay, see how I brought clues from my picture in? I said narrowly escape the storm because it looks like there's a storm right here. And it doesn't look like from the picture that he's going to make it there in time without getting wet. Okay, and I also used land because it looks like there's some buildings over there. So I used lots of different clues from my text or my source to come up with my prediction. Okay, same thing with this one. So my non-example would be the boat will be in a storm. My example is the boat's passengers will be caught in the middle of a violent storm. They will be soaked from the rain and cold because the temperature will decrease. Okay, see how I just expanded on it and I took everything, all the clues I possibly could from this picture to make my thoughtful prediction. Probably has passengers on it because it's pretty big. The storm doesn't look good because that looks like a big wall cloud. So maybe it's a hurricane happening. And those clouds are pretty low, which tells me they're about to drop some rain. Okay. All right. So now it's going to be your turn to practice making your own predictions. Okay. So for this assignment, you are just going to locate the book Sideways Stories from Wayside School in your Epic mailbox. And then after you find that, you're going to find the Making Predictions worksheet on Google Classroom. The worksheet goes directly with your reading, and all you're doing for this is just completing the worksheet while you complete your Sideways Stories from Wayside School. And you're only going to read one chapter of this book. So to explain your assignment a little bit more, you are making predictions before, during, and after of this book with your Making Predictions worksheet. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to find your Making Predictions worksheet, and then you're also going to find the book Sideways Stories from Wayside School in your Epic mailbox. Okay, so after you find both of those, then you're going to complete the before reading section on your worksheet. Again, these 3 are all on this one worksheet. Okay, so after you do the before reading, then you're going to go ahead and start reading chapter 1. While you're reading, I want you to stop on page 7 and then complete the during reading section. This is about halfway through chapter 1. And then when you finish reading chapter 1, you're going to complete the after reading section. After you finish that, you're all done. You're only reading chapter 1, like I already said. You're going to go ahead and turn in your worksheet, and you are done with predicting for today. Great job.